I'd like to introduce you now to Dr. Sina Baleka from McMaster University also. Her research explores ancient DNA from extinct elephant species to reconstruct their distribution and admixture patterns. She then connects these insights to past climate events. She originally studied anthropology, and the ancient DNA lab had some elephant samples that no one really wanted to work on. And everybody wanted the human samples, of course. So she kind of fell into this type of work. I guess it goes to show you that one person's passion is another person's unwanted elephant samples. So here she is, Dr. Sina Baleka.
Does anyone here know what a Colombian mammoth is? And I'm saving you right, because it's really complicated. Let me explain. The steppe mammoth evolved around 1.7 million years ago in Eastern Asia, and it migrated to Europe and lived in Eurasia during most of the early and middle Pleistocene. It also migrated to North America, and somewhere along the line, it evolved into the Colombian mammoth, a species that is adapted to a warm climate and has been distributed from the north of the United States all the way down south to Costa Rica, with the earliest samples being around 1.2 million years old. That sounds relatively straightforward, but there's more. In Siberia, the steppe mammoth evolved into the woolly mammoth, the only mammoth species that is adapted to an Arctic climate. And with the advance of the next ice age, the woolly mammoth also migrated to Europe as well as North America. So it's still not too complicated, but nature is messy, and we can see this when we look at the DNA of these extinct species. Paleogenetics, or the field of ancient DNA, works with DNA from samples that can be hundreds or hundred thousands of years old. It comes with a suite of challenges. Most times the DNA is completely degraded and there's nothing left to analyze. If you find DNA, then it's heavily damaged, fragmented into very short pieces, and contaminated with everything from modern human DNA to ancient microbial one. So most of the DNA sequence that we have today are less than 100,000 years old. And this is true for all of the Colombian mammoth sequences that exist, and also for most of the woolly mammoth ones. The oldest paleogenomes that we have today come from two steppe mammoth sequences from Siberia that have been dated to around 1 million years. Dinosaurs, 65 million years that direction, so we do not have any DNA from them. Now, even with that DNA from the Colombian mammoth, we can see that the species in the late Pleistocene is actually a hybrid between a woolly mammoth and a lineage coming from the steppe mammoth from Siberia. But you do not know where and when this hybridization took place between a species that is adapted to a warm climate and one that is adapted to the exact opposite. Where did they meet? To answer this question, we would need more DNA from the North American continent that is older than most of the DNA that we currently have. Change of topic, Arctic ground squirrels. Cute, right? Arctic ground squirrels lived in northern Canada for hundreds of thousands of years. They dig into the permafrost where they build their burrows called mittens. We recently analyzed one of those mittens from the Yukon that has been securely dated to 700,000 years ago. And to be more precise, we analyzed Arctic ground squirrels' paleofeces, and that just means old poop. Now, the amazing thing when working with feces, and you do not hear that sentence a lot, is that you don't just get the DNA from the defecator, but also from everything that they ate, giving you a lot of information about the ecosystem at the time. Now, Arctic ground squirrels are not strict herbivores. They also eat insects, small mammals, and might feed on carrion of larger mammals. So in our Arctic ground squirrel paleofeces, we found mammoth DNA, 700,000 years old from North America. Analyzing this DNA and comparing it to everything that's available, we could see that at this point in time, we do not see any hybridization. So to further narrow down when this hybridization took place, we will need additional data. But why is this interesting? Genetic data from extinct species is more than a scientific curiosity. It reminds us of what we lost and gives us insights into how and why this happened. Understanding the evolutionary histories of extinct species helps us understand how these species reacted to certain stresses in the past. This can help us act instead of react to extinction threats for our living species. Thank you.